All right, so we're going to try this out. We are finding the inverse of this function. We have function g here. If we want to find the inverse, the first thing we want to do is we want to change that g of x to say y equals. So all I did was change g of x to say y. And of course, to find an inverse, we switch the x's and the y's. Everywhere I have a y, I'm now going to call an x, and everywhere I have an x, I'm going to call a y. So we've already done 2 steps. Now in order to find the inverse, we've switched the x's and the y's, but now we need to solve for y. We need y to be by itself, and you can see this one's a little bit trickier because, well, there's 2 y's. And so we have to do some algebra finesse here. We have to really use our algebra skills. And the first thing I'm going to do to get y by itself, first I'm going to write this nice and big so we have plenty of space to work with. First thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to multiply both sides by this y minus 6. So you can think of this as cross multiplying, but both sides are getting multiplied by this y minus 6 here. Over here they cancel out to leave me with just y on the right side. Over here I have y minus 6 times x. So again, I multiplied both sides by that y minus 6, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. And I'm going to multiply this out, distributing that x there. X times y gives me xy. Negative 6 times x is minus 6x. And now I have, everything is on just one line, and so I'm going to work to get now all the y's, all the terms with y on the same side, all the terms with x on the other side. So I'm going to add this 6x to both sides, adding that 6x. So I have xy equals y plus 6x. Now I can subtract y from both sides. And that gives me, over here on the left, I have xy minus y. On the other side, I have 6x. Now I can get I can see there's 2 y's over here. That is what's in common in this expression is y. I can pull a y out, factoring out y, I'm left with x minus 1 here. Pull the y out of this term, I'm left with an x. Y divided by y left me with 1. Hopefully you see where this is going. One more step to get y completely by itself. It's y times x minus 1. So I'm simply going to divide both sides by x minus 1. Those x minus 1's cancel out over here, leaving me with y equals 6x over x minus 1. One final step. We're not talking about y. This was g of x. So we let this be the inverse of the g function is 6x divided by x minus 1. And that is our inverse of our original g of x.